Hi y'all, here's a little reflection. I'm trying to not record too much, but a little reflection of today, or in general. Like, I've been online dating on the apps, meeting people. Sorry that my quality of recording is now you don't see anything except my face. I it's to not disclose where I live and the neighborhood that I'm in, despite you knowing that, like, it's in the Oakland, Berkeley area. I wanted to share that, like, oh my gosh, after being on the dating apps, horrendous, by the way, horrendous, like, I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. Now that I'm off of it and I've confessed to someone that I like them, which is absolutely bazonkers, and like I was just joking at first, and I was like, yeah, you would. Oh, how silly. Now that I look at it in retrospect, like, you would never like me. Like, what if you don't? And blah, 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 blah. And then turns out that they did. And I was like, yeah, I didn't really think that far. So I essentially rejected myself. And in turn, turns out I wasn't planning on pursuing anyone for the longest until recently. And so now I'm in this space where I'm like, what? Like, we both like each other. What are the odds? What do we do now? And I guess, like, liking someone for me initially was like, oh my gosh, that has to be the person that, like, I'm like dearly attached to. Like, the love that I imagine is that, like, I will always have, like, a crush feeling, and that, like, it's always fleeting. Just as I do on apps, like, I swipe and I'm like, oh, okay, this person seems really attractive, I like the attributes, blah blah blah, like, super fun, I hope this works out. And then turning out, like, it's a whole thing on perception, like how, for example, you perceive yourself and how you want to share yourself online, saying, like, the good attributes of yourself, but it doesn't encapsulate, like, the poor qualities. And, like, people, I mean, I'm not saying that you should put your flaws on there or your red flags or whatever and want people to accept them that way, but I wish there was a way that you can just reveal yourself neutrally, and even, like, just you being you, and people can observe and like figure out if they really like you for the holistic part of you. And I guess that's the whole point of apps. Like, no one's like, you put your sports, you put, like, food, drinking, what do you do? Like, they're trying to have creative ways, even, like, voice memos and videos and chat and voice, like, even starters, like, they have created so many, like, different things, like, on dating apps, so that it can be accommodating for all groups of people except the blind. Like, how are you expected to swipe if you're blind? And, like, that's a whole story that my friend and I were discussing, because he is blind, and also, like, it's just, like, it's really hard to date and connect. And, like, for me, out of the blue, one of my friends that I've just continuously hung out with eventually became someone that I liked, and I was like, you know, you're cool. And I don't think that, like I would oppose dating. And, like, I think in my last trial or relationship, I was like, okay, let's commit, like, this is serious, like, I'm ready for, like, these things. And then the other person, like, pulled themselves away, and that's when I realized, like, oh, okay. Then I thought maybe I should keep pouring myself into them and being like, here's all the love and affection, like, but I was anxiously attached, and whatever they call insecure, avoidant, anxious attachment style, and they were avoidant. And so that created a clash between me and my partner at the time, where there was just no structure, and like there was no sense of like safety, though when we do meet it was safe, and then like the texting was bad. And so in retrospect, like, if it's not working out, you don't have to force it to work out. Even as much as you love a person, like, you can appreciate the person and you don't have to make it sour. And I think I might have made it sour, I'm not really sure. And I think that like maybe it would be nice if like we got to talk again and like be on good terms, but that's not always true. Like, people won't be on good terms. And so I wish, if I knew better, like, I wish that my relationships didn't end off as in like, okay, no contact, let's not see each other again, let's not be friends. Like, there are good people and people that I like for a reason, and like, because they're doing good and they're like amazing and they're successful, or whatever you want to, like, whatever you value, whatever I value. And so with that being said, I was just like, this is great. Like, I would in retrospect, like, would love to continue this. But then in a relationship, there's more, like, there's chemistry, romance, sexuality, like, there's so many other things that it depends on the depth of your relationship. And I want to say, like, I wouldn't want to say like downplay and be like, oh, it's just surface level, but like it was like an emotionally connected relationship, I think, because we didn't actually have sex or whatever, like, until the end. And then I was like, now it's just gone, which left me with an empty feeling, that I think a lot of people feel when they have sex or like one night stands, which I don't like at all. And so I really enjoy the natural, progressive, like old school dating styles, despite like how frustrating and slow it is. And you're like, I just want you to say that you like me. And then sometimes it's too strong and it's like a whole like matchmaking process. And like, now that I have like this idea of like, oh, this partner, this friend, whatever, is really cool, I think I would tell myself to like, just take it easy, have fun. There's no reason to like worry about some things and like figure out the kids or like all these implications that I used to like really want control over, security, and like being like, okay, what are our parenting values, or like even to ask a person like, are you an aggressive person, are you like, do you yell, like those things you shouldn't even have to ask. You can like see and like observe. But then there's also qualities you're like, oh, you never know. Like I've asked couples like, questions, and they're like, oh, I actually don't know this about you, you do this? And he's like, yeah. And it's like, you know, you don't have to know everything. And for me, it's like, now I know that like even taking an exam, like I don't know the answers, I don't know, I'm kind of guessing based off my own intuition and my experience and whatever. And that's it. That's really like, you can't control it. And I'm trying to learn how to be okay with like the discrepancies, or not like discrepancy, like the complications of like relationships and the intricacies of it. So despite of how complex it is and confusing, I think it's like okay to just enjoy and like find other hobbies. Like I just came back from tennis. I played tennis by myself, despite having so many friends like to reach out to. I like talked to the people on the side. They're like, you can use the court while we're resting. I was like, all right, cool. So I used it, and I was just practicing my serves, and I have private tennis lessons, and I'll go on Meetup and try to find other tennis players. But that doesn't mean like it's like a whole realm of dating. Everything is like connection. It's just, we're social. So me trying to understand the implementations of like what is love versus what is the desire for me to like have a social connection. And I think that's the most important. Hence like talking to y'all feels like another mode of connecting with someone instantaneously without having to have their availability right away at their own choice and favor, whatever. And so I hope you understand this. But if you don't, it's okay too. I really think that there are different soul mates, like a soulmate for like a family, a soulmate for friendships, a soulmate for like career orientated stuff, and like a soulmate, and you can have soulmates that have like cross things. Like when you cross that bridge, you'll get there when you cross that bridge. There's no reason to like worry about it in far in advance. And I know I feel like I've only gone through the honeymoon stages and like had internal demons within myself that I'm like, I'm upset that they're not tentatively informing me about XYZ, or like I'm upset they're not answering me, or like creating these internal dialogues or arguments. And like I want to validate my little self, knowing that like, okay, if you feel upset, let's like investigate, feel it, and like nurture yourself, because the other person can't give you everything you need. And how can you give yourself everything you need? And so now, like by playing tennis and going on meetups, like not my partner or anything can provide that kind of attentiveness all the time. And so I have to be on my own and like travel and like do my own thing, because like I'm still me and I'm still growing, and like I hold no one to be like, you must stay with me. Like I guess there's a level of commitment, long distance and all these other things, and like challenges that will come, but there's for certain like no certainty. And like for me, I think marriage constitutionally, like, or like having the legal process involved is not something, it's not my cup of tea. I think that like coming from divorced parents, like I think it's not quite like I don't know. I think the divorce papers are tough, and like I've just seen a lot of divorced people, and I guess if I met the right person, I wouldn't have to be worried about like marriage and papers and all that stuff. Unless it's like required, like, oh my gosh, for example, my professor with their kids, where they moved to America, and if the parents passed away, and they're not citizens, their kids would go straight into the foster care system. And the parents didn't like that and would rather them be with their grandparents, so they made sure that they're citizens. Therefore, the kids will, if the parents ever were to die, the kids would go to their grandparents. Which I don't even know, like logistics, paperwork, all these things are so much jargon and mysterious. Like this is why I'm so excited for my econometrics class, because money, stocks, all these like intricacies are very like foreign to me, and I would not have like delve into these spaces unless I was held at gunpoint. Like not even gunpoint, like this institution makes me want to like learn, and like it makes me not want to, but like I don't want to, but like I learned something out of it. I'm like, oh, that's interesting, now I know something else. And like I think this ties into like my major, picking my major, and how that like played a role. Like I love being compassionate, helping people, but like that comes like naturally. That's my people skills. I can do that in finance, I can do that in data science, I can do that in arts. Like I have multiple hobbies, hence like this YouTube video and channel that I'm hosting, as well as multiple like aspects of myself and avenues that I'm exploring. So no, I'm not just a data scientist, and no, I'm not just like a Cambodian first-gen low income, blah 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 blah. I'm a multiple facet of things, and there's a wide spectrum, and that's why I like getting to know my gray areas, and like knowing, like, instead of being so black and white that I used to be for safety reasons and like, you know, security and stuff, I'm more so like everything's gonna be all right, and like let's just sit in this gray area and see how it goes. So that is all for my ramble today. Thanks for listening, and I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did, reflecting and talking about myself. Okay, bye. Have a good one, and I hope you do something nice for yourself.